Alcohol has been part of human culture for thousands of years. It has been poured into glasses at celebrations, used to toast victories, and shared as a ritual of belonging. Yet behind the golden glow in the cup and the illusion of comfort lies a substance that can quietly and persistently change the way the body and mind function. When someone lifts that glass, the liquid does not simply pass through the throat and vanish. It enters the bloodstream, it interacts with every organ, and it reshapes neural patterns that govern emotion, memory, and behavior. In the very first moments after a drink, alcohol acts as a sedative, dulling the nervous system's sharp edges. The muscles relax, the tongue loosens, and anxiety seems to drift away. That deceptive calm is why so many people lean on it after a hard day, why the ritual of pouring a drink becomes tied to stress relief, and why society often normalizes it as harmless or even necessary. But beneath the surface, the process unfolding is far more complex, and the longer it continues, the more damage it inflicts. The body treats alcohol as a toxin. As soon as it enters, the liver begins to work relentlessly to break it down, converting ethanol into acetaldehyde, a compound even more toxic, before neutralizing it into less harmful substances. That cycle is exhausting, and when repeated over years, it overwhelms the liver's capacity, leading to scarring, inflammation, and eventually, cirrhosis. The brain, bathed in alcohol with every sip, adapts to its presence. Neurotransmitters that regulate mood and reward become overstimulated, flooding the brain with dopamine in the beginning, which creates the sensation of pleasure and relaxation. But as time passes, those same pathways weaken. The brain compensates by reducing natural dopamine production. So without alcohol, a person feels flat, restless, or depressed. This is how dependence builds, not in a single night of drinking, but in the small adjustments that accumulate day after day until the brain requires the substance just to feel normal. What alcohol does to the heart is equally insidious. The constriction and relaxation cycles brought on by drinking increase blood pressure. Over years, the heart muscle thickens, arteries stiffen, and the risk of heart disease climbs. The blood itself carries changes, becoming stickier and more prone to clot, increasing the likelihood of stroke. In the digestive tract, alcohol irritates the lining of the stomach and intestines, leading to ulcers and chronic inflammation. It just interferes with nutrient absorption, meaning that even if someone eats well, their body cannot fully benefit. This is why long-term drinkers often show signs of vitamin deficiencies, muscle weakness, and fragile bones. And in the immune system, alcohol disrupts the delicate balance of white blood cells, weakening defenses against infection. A single heavy drinking session can make the body more vulnerable for days afterward. Beyond the physical toll, alcohol deeply alters how a person experiences life. In the beginning, it may feel like it makes gatherings more fun, conversations more animated, or loneliness less painful. Yet as dependence grows, the very things people hoped to enhance begin to erode. Relationships strain under the weight of mood swings, memory lapses, or neglect. Careers suffer as focus declines and mornings become harder to face. Even joy itself becomes dulled, as the brain learns to tie pleasure to alcohol rather than to natural experiences. Many describe it as a narrowing of the world. The hobbies, passions, and connections that once brought satisfaction fade, replaced by the single pursuit of drinking. It is a trap that many do not see forming until they are already caught inside. The irony is that alcohol does not simply mask pain or stress, it amplifies it in the long run. While it may briefly calm anxiety, regular use disrupts the brain regions that regulate fear and worry, making people more prone to stress when sober. It may help someone sleep faster, but the quality of that sleep is shallow, fragmented, and less restorative, leaving them more fatigued the next day. And though it may feel like it lifts mood, the eventual crashes deepen sadness, sometimes feeding into cycles of depression. Scientists now understand that alcohol reshapes the hippocampus, a brain region critical for memory and learning, literally shrinking its size in long-term heavy drinkers. The result is not only memory loss but also difficulty learning new skills, adapting to change, or even making clear decisions. But within this heavy story of decline lies a brighter truth. The human body and brain have remarkable capacity for recovery once alcohol is removed. When someone stops drinking, the changes begin within minutes. Heart rate and blood pressure start to stabilize, the body temperature normalizes, and oxygen distribution improves. Within hours, the liver shifts, focus from breaking down alcohol to repairing itself, beginning the long process of regeneration. In a day or two, sleep patterns may still be disrupted, but the nervous system starts recalibrating and energy levels gradually rise. Within a week, digestion improves and inflammation in the gut subsides, allowing the body to absorb nutrients more efficiently again. By the 1-month mark, skin often looks clearer, energy is more consistent, and cravings begin to ease. The cogs of natural reward return to motion, and moments of genuine joy start to reappear. One of the most dramatic shifts comes with mental clarity. Without the fog of alcohol, thoughts sharpen, memory improves, and emotional stability grows. Many people describe it as waking up to their own lives again, noticing details in daily existence that had long been blurred. Smells, tastes, conversations, even simple routines take on new depth. Over the course of a year, the risk of heart disease drops by half. The immune system regains full strength, making the body more resilient to infection. And most powerfully, the brain continues to heal, with neurons rebuilding connections and the hippocampus regaining volume. Scientific imaging shows that areas of the brain damaged by alcohol can partially recover, restoring cognitive functions once thought permanently diminished. It is true that quitting alcohol is not an easy path. The first days can be uncomfortable, filled with cravings, mood swings, and even physical withdrawal symptoms, depending on the severity of dependence. Anxiety, irritability, and sleeplessness may rise, creating the illusion that life without alcohol will be unbearable. But these waves are temporary. With each day, the intensity fades, and the body adapts to functioning naturally again. Tools such as counseling, peer support groups, and medical guidance provide critical reinforcement, giving individuals the strength to endure those early storms. For some, exercise becomes a powerful ally, restoring endorphins and building confidence. For others, meditation or journaling provides grounding, helping to reshape thought patterns once tied to alcohol. The key is not perfection but persistence, knowing that every sober day adds to a momentum that carries life forward. The transformation after giving up alcohol extends beyond personal health. It ripples outward into relationships, careers, and communities. Families find healing when trust is rebuilt and presence is restored. Productivity surges when mornings are no longer lost to hangovers and nights no longer consumed by drinking. Financial stress eases when money once spent on alcohol is freed for meaningful goals. Most profoundly, individuals often discover a sense of self they had forgotten, a clarity of purpose, a depth of emotion, and an ability to endure life's challenges without escape. The liberation is not only physical, but spiritual, a reclaiming of time, energy, and identity. The story of alcohol is ultimately one of choice. For centuries, cultures have glamorized it, companies have marketed it, and individuals have leaned on it as a friend. Yet the truth remains unchanged. It is a substance that erodes health, dulls the mind, and steals years of life. By putting it down, even after years of dependence, a person unlocks a future of vitality and resilience. The body repairs, the mind awakens, and the soul rediscovers what it means to live fully. Quitting alcohol is not the end of pleasure, but the beginning of real joy. It is not a loss of comfort, but the discovery of strength. And it is not a punishment, but the ultimate gift one can give to themselves and to everyone who loves them. The decision to stop drinking is not simply a physical, act of putting down the glass. It is a profound psychological shift. Alcohol has often been woven into daily life in such a way that it feels like an old companion, a trusted comfort at the end of the day, a centerpiece at gatherings, or a reward after struggle. Breaking free from it means confronting the illusions that have held people in its grip for so long. It means facing not only the body's craving, but also the emotions and beliefs tied to drinking. Many discover that alcohol was never really about pleasure or taste, but about avoiding discomfort, numbing restlessness, and softening pain. When someone removes it, the first thing they meet is themselves, raw, unfiltered, and sometimes uncomfortable. Yet it is in that confrontation where real growth begins. Withdrawal from alcohol, depending on the level of dependence, can be difficult. For some, it may mean headaches, sweating, or irritability. For others, particularly heavy drinkers, it may involve trembling, insomnia, or even more serious medical complications that require professional care. These symptoms are the body's protest as it adjusts to functioning without the substance it had adapted to for years. But even as those moments feel overwhelming, the truth is that every hour without alcohol is an act of repair. Neurochemistry starts to stabilize, the nervous system rebalances, and each day, the intensity diminishes. It is not a straight line, but the progress is real. And what begins as a battle soon becomes a liberation. One of the most powerful changes that comes after leaving alcohol behind is the restoration of emotional depth. For so long, drinking flattens feelings, blurring joy and sorrow alike. Without it, emotions return with their full intensity. At first, this can feel like too much, as if the world has suddenly become too bright or too sharp. But over time, the ability to feel deeply becomes a gift. Laughter becomes genuine, love becomes clearer, grief becomes healing rather than suffocating. This rawness reconnects people with their humanity, allowing them to experience life with honesty. Many find that their creativity blossoms, their motivation resurfaces, and their ability to connect with others grows stronger. It is as if a fog has lifted, and behind it lies a fuller, richer version of reality. On the biological level, the transformation is extraordinary. The liver, given time, can regenerate itself almost completely, undoing years of strain. The brain begins to grow new neural pathways, strengthening focus and decision-making skills. Sleep cycles return to their natural rhythm, delivering rest that truly restores body and mind. The cardiovascular system heals as blood pressure normalizes, circulation improves, and the risk of deadly clots falls dramatically. The immune system, once suppressed, becomes vigilant again, protecting the body from infections that once slipped past its weakened defenses. Even the skin shows renewal, regaining elasticity and brightness as hydration returns. These visible changes reflect the invisible repair happening deep inside every cell. But perhaps the most underestimated benefit is the time that sobriety gives back. Hours once lost to drinking, recovering, or planning the next drink become available again. Whole mornings reappear, clear and productive. Evenings are no longer consumed by escape, but can be devoted to connection, creativity, or rest. Over weeks and months, these hours add up to an entirely new life. Goals that seemed impossible suddenly come within reach. Projects long abandoned are picked up again. Education, fitness, relationships, careers, all begin to thrive with the consistent presence that sobriety allows. Time, once squandered, becomes a resource of immeasurable value. Socially, quitting alcohol can feel challenging. Friends may question the decision, peers may pressure, and cultural traditions may tempt. But true companionship is not built on shared intoxication. It is built on respect, authenticity, and presence. As old social circles shift, new ones form. Communities of people who celebrate sobriety offer solidarity and encouragement, and friendships built in this clarity often run deeper than those forged in the haze of drinking. Families too often heal. Children gain a present parent, spouses regain trust, and bonds strained by alcohol's disruptions find new strength. Sobriety does not isolate. It redefines connection in a healthier, more enduring way. Psychologically, one of the greatest victories is the dismantling of the myth that alcohol is needed to cope. Stress does not vanish without it, but resilience grows. Instead of drowning difficulties in drink, people learn to face them, to breathe through them, to solve them. This shift builds true strength, the kind that lasts even when life becomes hard. It cultivates a confidence that says, "I do not need to escape. I can endure." That confidence radiates into every aspect of life, from work to relationships to self-image. The person who once relied on alcohol to soften reality becomes the person who can stand firmly in it, unshaken. There is also the profound recognition that sobriety is not deprivation, but expansion. Without alcohol, one does not lose a source of pleasure. One gains freedom to pursue countless others. The joy of waking up clear-headed, the pride of achieving goals, the beauty of remembering every moment with clarity, the richness of genuine connection. These are pleasures far deeper than anything found at the bottom of a glass. Life becomes not about what is lost, but about what is discovered. Energy, time, love, purpose. It is as if quitting alcohol opens a door to a world that was always waiting, but had been dimmed by years of drinking. For many, the journey is not only about health, but identity. Alcohol often becomes part of how people see themselves, the life of the party, the one who can drink the most, or simply a drinker. Letting go of that identity feels like stepping into the unknown. But it is in that unknown where true identity emerges. People rediscover passions they thought were gone. They uncover strength they never realized they had. They learn that who they are is not tied to a substance, but to their choices, their values, and their dreams. This realization is both humbling and empowering. It means life can be rewritten at any stage, no matter how many years were lost to alcohol. Science confirms what millions of stories prove. It is never too late to quit. A person who stops drinking at 20 will reap decades of health. A person who stops at 50 or even 70 still experiences dramatic benefits, reduced cancer risk, improved circulation, sharper memory, and longer life. The body is resilient, always striving to heal itself, always responding to care. Every day without alcohol is an investment, a step toward a stronger, clearer, and more vibrant future. That is the hope that drives countless people to put down the drink and choose life again and again. Yet perhaps the most remarkable change is the one hardest to measure: the return of self-respect. Alcohol quietly erodes dignity. It creates mornings of regret, nights of blurred memory, and choices that do not align with values. Quitting reverses this erosion. Day by day, confidence returns. Integrity rebuilds. The person looking in the mirror begins to recognize someone they admire, someone they trust, someone capable of great things. This inner victory often surpasses even the physical healing, because it restores the foundation on which every other aspect of life is built. The path away from alcohol is not a straight road. It is filled with challenges, temptations, and moments of doubt. But it is also filled with victories, small at first, then enormous. Each sober morning, each clear decision, each genuine smile is a milestone, and together they add up to a journey of transformation that is nothing short of miraculous. The glass once held as a symbol of comfort becomes unnecessary. In its place stand strength, freedom, and authenticity. This is the promise of life without alcohol, not perfection, but wholeness. Not escape, but presence. Not illusion, but truth. And in that truth lies the power to live fully, to love deeply, and to reclaim every moment with clarity and purpose.